So if you guys want, we can go ahead and get started. I'm not sure if you've ever been to one of my training sessions before, because actually I just started doing accounting and keeping track of how many sessions people have attended to today with that RefLink tool that I had you guys click earlier. So typically what the format of my training sessions are is I like to give you guys the most value that you can possibly get from the training session. So pretty much I just open up the floor to you guys to tell me what things that you're struggling with, or what things that you're really wanting to accomplish, what you're trying to learn. And then we just kind of do live examples. You tell me, hey, I want to learn how to do this, or this is what I'm trying to do with my bot and I haven't been able to figure out. And then we'll just go and actually do the live examples, and we'll build it out for you and show you exactly how to accomplish it. Most of the actual content in this demo bot has been built like that. So almost all the content in this demo bot has been built just by doing these live training sessions where people will say, hey, I want to see how to schedule an appointment, or create a calendar event, or do a one-time use coupon, or send somebody a horoscope, or just whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. Then we just kind of do that together. So if you guys want, you just I'll open up the floor to you guys, and you can kind of just tell me what you'd like to see, what you're trying to accomplish, and what it is I can help you with. And then we'll just go through, and if they're just questions, I can answer the questions. If there's something that requires me building out a live flow demo to show you guys exactly how to do it and how it works, then I'll go in and do that accordingly. So kind of completely up to you guys. You guys feel free to unmute your mics if you want. And then if you want to have a voice conversation, that's fine. If not, then you can just put whatever questions or things that you want. You can just do that inside the chat. That's completely up to you.
Hey, John.
Hey, what's going on?
Levis here.
Hey, how you doing?
Listen, like I said, I'm a little bit of a noob on this, but so my question would be, how do I route someone from a Facebook post that I made that I got a reply like I'm in or something into a minute chat sequence that I want to start building a relationship with them?
Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. So that's actually really, really straightforward. So for that, let's just look at this demo bot here. Let's publish this guy because this guy's actually done here. So, and then let's go to a new content. So best practice to me, what I always recommend is any flow that you're going to build whatsoever, just always start from creating a new content. So here's where you want to create all your different flows. Every new flow you want to create from just a new piece of content, so that you can basically have your contents really modular and you can reference them from any other content that you're ever going to create. So so this one we can just call grab, or we'll just call this subscribe user from comment. Now, does that sound like what you're trying to do? You're trying to route a user from a Facebook post comment, trying to get them as a subscriber, and then route them into a particular flow, right?
Yeah, exactly. So would it be good to put the post number in there so you can ID different posts? That was the entry point.
Not necessarily. So here for me, this would be good to actually give it more of. So this is an example. So for the example, we're going to use this. Yeah. But in an actual flow, it would be much better to give a generic name of what this flow is, what you're going to do inside this flow. Are you going to pre-qualify a lead inside this flow? Are you going to give them access to some ebook inside this flow? What is it that you're actually going to do inside this flow? So that's kind of what you would want to name it, something generic. So if you look, you can see, let me just copy this guy. If you can see how I do all my flows. Here's my welcome message. Here's when somebody's attending live training. Here's the response to filling today. Categorize people based on their responses. Here's three-way ad comment growth tool. Here's generic horoscope message, start horoscope. Here's a 15% off coupon, VIP tickets to event, one-time use coupon, training schedule. So you can see any of these. If I want to reference what my training schedule is, we're doing live training. We're doing a 35-hour live training. If you guys haven't signed up for it, I'd recommend you sign up for it. But once somebody actually signs up for the live training, then I can go in and easily push them out the actual training schedule, what the training schedule is going to be. So now what I'll do is I'll do a broadcast, and I've got people, if you look at this training schedule, you can see inside this training schedule, you can see inside this training schedule, whenever somebody first goes inside this training schedule, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tag them that they attempted scheduling. And then they have two ways to get out of here. They can just go in and say, hey, they'll take their chances. They don't want to tell me what days they're going to attend training. So I'm just going to add a tag that they decline scheduling. And then if they decide that, yes, I want to grab my seat, I pretty much walk them through this flow. So you can see that there's 5 days of training. It's every Saturday in December, and there's 5 sessions every Saturday to a total of 7 hours worth of training. So I just take them through and let them know, hey, the first training session starts at this day. Are you going to attend? Yes or no? And then basically if they say yes, I add a tag to them so I can keep track of how many people are going to attend on this day, how many people will attend on that day. And whenever they get through the final process and it's all said and done, I'm going to tag them that they've finished scheduling. So now what I can do is I can push out a new broadcast to people that have not actually finished this scheduling. So what I can do is I can create a new broadcast, and I can say, hey, I want to send this broadcast out to anybody who has not finished scheduling. So anybody who has not finished scheduling, then I can just send them this training schedule flow again over. So just having those generic names will make it really easy for you to go back in later on and reuse these flows over and over. And then it will really help us when ManyChat actually introduces a new feature that they'll allow you to automatically continue from a flow. Right now you can't do that, but they're planning on actually building that out. So what that will allow you to do is, like, for example, I've got some flows in here called, let's say, email. So I've got some flows, get user email or verify email address. So now inside a flow, if you require somebody's email address inside that flow, you can just route them to this flow. And then once they give this ability for you to continue automatically from another flow, then what that means is you could route them to this verify email flow or this get email address flow, grab their email address, and then once they finish that flow, automatically continue wherever they were at in your current flow. Until that's done, though, until they actually build out that functionality, then what you can easily do is you can easily just come here and you can just edit this guy, and then you can just copy this guy. So you can just copy and paste him into your other flow. Or for something that's more in depth like this, you can come here and then you can just actually hold the shift key down, and then copy all this guy, and then you can literally just go to your other flow and just paste it in there, and that will help you actually build out these flows really fast until they add these other functionality. So so now back to your question, I need to add a new content, and I know that I already erased that. So so subscribe from so here, this is going to be pretty straightforward. Here, we're just we can just go in and say something like, hey, and grab their name and put their name in there. So now we can do something just like this, all right? And for the purpose of this example, this should be enough, actually, for this flow. This should definitely be enough. We could obviously go in and build this out as much as we want, but I think building it out is going to be really dependent on what they're actually commenting on, what posts they're actually commenting on. So for this should be enough for it. So let's go back here to this demo bot. And then on this demo bot, what we're going to do is just go in and put in some comment here. Okay, so something simple like that. We'll just go in and put some posts there. Now we'll come right back over here and we're going to go to our growth tools. We're going to use the one that seems really intuitive and really obvious, which would be this Facebook comments growth tool. So now first thing we need to do is just select a post. Here's that post from just a few seconds ago that I just put in. So we'll select that post. So now this we need to confirm, but we should actually adhere to this guy right here. This guy says, I confirm that the selected post is explicit, that the page is going to contact users who comment via Messenger. So if we want to do that, then what we should do is just go in and edit this post and say something like, comment below and I'll send you a PM with more information. So now this makes it very explicit that if they comment on this post, then we will actually be contacting them via Messenger. So we don't have to do that, obviously, but we do have to check this box. So, and this box is telling us that we're confirming that it's explicit in the post that we're doing this. So in order for this to be true, then we should obviously make sure that it's explicit in the post. So we'll just go in and edit this. So now this says, do we want to track first level comments only? So the first level comment is whenever somebody comes in and actually comments on the post, and now people can go in and reply to somebody's comment. That would be outside a first level comment. So it depends on you. What do you want to do? Do you want to track first level comments only, or do you want to not track first level comments only? So if you turn this on, then you're only going to reply just to those comments. If you leave this off, then you'll reply to those comments, and anybody who replies to those comments will also get out a message. So, and then this is, so I'm always going to leave this off because I want to reply to everybody, obviously. So, and then this just lets you know, how long do you want to wait before you send this message out? So I'm just going to do it immediately. This allows you to exclude comments with certain keywords. So if people reply with a certain keyword, you could just exclude them and not send it out to them. This will only trigger for comments with certain keywords. So if you want to tell people, you know, comment promo below to get more information, or comment ebook below to get more information, then you can do this. I think this is a really stupid idea myself. To me, the better route is just send it to everybody. I mean, because even if you tell people, even if you're doing a live stream, or even if you put it in the post itself and say comment below with ebook, people are not going to actually do that. People will literally type more info instead of ebook because they're people, and they just do what they want. So now you come to this auto response. This auto response is going to be the first message that the user gets. So what I'll do is I'll grab this guy and I'll put this guy in there. Okay. And then here, we'll just do, here is additional information that you requested. So here, this is going to be this auto response. This is the first response that we're going to give back to people whenever they reply to our comment. As soon as somebody comments on our post, they're going to receive this message. Now, from here, we've got this opt-in actions. So this opt-in actions, we have basically three options. We can not send an opt-in message whatsoever, which doesn't make sense. We can send it to everybody who replies, or we can send it only to user who replies with the keyword. So I don't care about those keywords. We're just going to do it to everyone who replies. So now here they give you an opt-in message automatically. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click replace, because if you remember, I use generic contents for everything. So I'm going to use this generic content that we selected earlier. So now I know that I've got that generic content. And if I wanted to, I could go replace and say, hey, if they comment, I want to collect their email address so I can, you know, put them into this get email address flow, or whatever I want to do, whatever my generic flows are. So we're just going to use that flow right there. So, so there's that.
So can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, of course.
So at this point in time, so let's say I got people, this is the fifth time they comment to something. Do they get tagged? So I don't have to necessarily send them the same, an opt-in every time, or do you want to opt-in every time?
So
Is there a condition to set up where once they've been added to your email list or your growth list, where you don't want to add them, or do you actually add them to the different workflows every time?
So that's all completely relative. One, the first thing that you should keep in mind is these guys will only receive this message once. If they comment on your post 20 times, they're only going to receive this. They're only going to receive this process one time. All right. So if you want to do more advanced things, then what you want to do is you want to come in right in here. So for example, you can come in right in here and you could add some condition. All right. So you could add some condition where let's say here, let's say what's the purpose of this post? Let's say the purpose of this post is you want to grab users' email addresses, for example. Let's say that's the purpose of this post. So what we can do is we can go into this condition, we can look and we can find their email. We've got some field called email, and we can say, hey, if this has any value, then I want to send them here. If this doesn't have any value, then I want to route them to this flow that is email, where I'm going to verify their email address. So now we've got some condition where as soon as somebody actually comments on our post, they're always going to receive that auto response. There's nothing we can do to change that. They're always, the first time that they comment, they're always going to receive that auto response. Now, once they respond back to that, they physically have to reply back to us with some question, give us some interaction back. If you notice on the auto response, we can't put any buttons, we can't put any quick replies, nothing. We can only put plain text in there. So now these guys have to physically type a message back to us. Once they physically type that message back to us, then they're going to at that point actually become subscribers, and then we will route them into our opt-in message. Now at this point in our opt-in message, we can do pretty much anything that we want to do. If we want to tag these guys, that commented on my post, we could tag them on commented on post, and then we could literally go in here if we wanted to and then add some condition. We could add a condition where the tag isn't commented on post, which means they've never commented on a post before. If this is true, then we're going to route them up here. If this is no, then at this point, what we would do is at this point, we can't just leave this guy blank here. We can't leave this guy blank, so we got to do something. So at this point, what we could do is just have an action group and give this guy an arbitrary tag, or we could remove a tag from him, or we could, like I said, just give him an arbitrary tag. We could just go in and say useless tag. And then enter.
So let me ask then, based on Facebook's conditions of how you can broadcast, the fact that they actually put in responding to that auto message, that's their opt-in, or do you actually have to still tell them, hey, you have subscribed, you can subscribe with a stop or whatever? You still have to do that once you capture the email address in order to broadcast in the future to them?
No, you don't. Once they reply, then they become a subscriber. They've essentially opted in. You don't have to give them any further information. Now, Facebook's terms and conditions on broadcasting deal with completely other things. It deals with basically promotional content and advertising content. So according to Facebook, whenever you broadcast out to people, you can only broadcast out promotional material or advertisement material to people who have interacted with your bot within 24 hours. So if it's been more than 24 hours, you can't send them any promotional content or any advertising material. But you can do something like broadcast to them and just say, hey, how are you today? Now, as soon as they answer that question, bam, hit them with an offer, hit them with an advertisement, because as soon as they answer that question, they've interacted.
So if I outside the 24-hour scope, if I say, hey, we got a new promotional coming up, would you be interested in hearing more about it? Would that still be banned by Facebook, or that's an okay question to ask?
Not a good,
Because you don't have to.
not a good
Not
question
a
to
good
ask
one.
because you're telling them, because you're literally giving them promotional material. Okay.
Okay.
So it's much better just to get them to interact with something arbitrage, like, hey, how are you doing today? Or,
Okay.
or
So
anything.
keep that first message as neutral as possible, and then if they respond, then the follow-up could be that question.
Correct. Now, whenever you give that neutral message, you obviously want to use some very compelling content to get them to actually respond, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And once you get them to respond, as soon as you get them to respond, then now you have 24 hours in which you can send them that promotional content.
And then here's one more question. In the 24 hours, is there a limit as to, we all want to be wise with how many times we send them something, but is there a limit to the interactions you can have in a 24-hour window?
No,
as long as the flow just take them to a point where they can always, end the conversation or just disregard it.
Yeah, you can send them a million promotions within 24 hours if you want to. Facebook doesn't give any limit or regulations on that. My recommendation on what you would do with that is just ask the guy. Ask him, how often would you like to receive promotional material from me? Once a day, every time I have a new promotion, twice a week, weekly, monthly, and then just ask them that question, get them to respond, and then just tag them like that. And then you can easily realize, hey, this guy doesn't care. This guy said I can contact him 20 times a day if I have 20 new promotions, versus this guy said only contact me once a month. And then you just have them tagged, separated like that. And if you do that, obviously, if you have your user telling you, look, it's cool if you contact me once a day with promotional material. Well, if you contact that dude once a day, most likely that guy isn't going to complain, and he isn't going to have any issue, because he's literally told you, please contact me once a day. Versus if he says, hey, contact me just once a week. Now you know that information. Now if you contact him once a week, that guy shouldn't have any real reason to complain.
Okay, awesome. Thanks.
So now we've got some simple flow like this, right? First thing we're going to do is we're going to tag somebody that they've commented on the post. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to so first we're going to tag them that they've commented on post, and actually probably what we want to do is we probably want to switch this around right here, because if not, that's always going to, if we don't do that, that's always going to evaluate. If we tag them first and then we check to see if it isn't commented on post, then no one will ever get to this flow right here, because we've invalidated the condition at the very beginning. So we want to check the condition first and say, hey, if this user matches this condition that he is not tagged, that he's commented on a post, well, then I want to add this tag to him. And then I'm going to go in and check to see, hey, does this guy have do I already have an email address for him? If I already have an email address for him, I'm going to deliver him this information. If I don't have an email address for him, well, I can either go ahead and verify his email address, or I can come in here and then just basically all I'm doing is holding the shift key. I'm just holding down the shift key, and that allows me to copy all this stuff. So I'm going to hit Control-C to copy that stuff, and then I'll come back to right where I was before. And then basically here, I'll come in here, and then I'll paste that stuff down there. And then now I can come in and get rid of this guy. And then now I can bring this guy down there. And then from here, I can go in and automatically continue from here. And then now I can route this guy right back up here to deliver this content. Now this means that I'm going to go in and try to collect this guy's email address, try to verify his email address, or collect it, because that's all that happens. I look to see, hey, if this guy does not have any email address on file, then I want to go in and ask him for his email address. If he does have an email address on file, then I'm going to say, hey, I've got this email address for you. Could you just verify that this is correct? If he says, no, this isn't correct, then I'll route him right back over here and say, okay, please give me a valid email address. If he says it is correct, then I'll come down here and I'll I'll go in and say, you know, thank you for verifying your email address. And then as soon as that message, I'll deliver him the actual content that was promised to him from the actual post itself. Now, here's another useful thing that I like to do, and I would recommend that you guys do. Unsubscribe from bot. Okay. A lot of people won't tell you to do that because a lot of people for some reason really care about this number right here. Okay. A lot of people really care about this number right there. I will tell you what I care about. And I think this is everybody. This is what I care about. I only care about numbers that have dollar signs in front of them. Those are the numbers that I care about. Okay. I don't really care whatsoever about this number right here. Okay. Now I like to keep this number in mind because obviously the higher this number is, the more likely I'm going to be to get a high number there. But I do know one thing. I do know that ManyChat charges us per subscribers. They charge us a fee per subscribers. Their pro plan is $10 a month, which is a hell of a deal. It's a very, very good deal. If you're not pro, I definitely recommend you just go ahead and upgrade to pro right now because you can't build a very functional bot without being pro. But for a pro plan, they charge us $10 a month for up to 500 subscribers. From there, I think it goes from there, $25 a month up to 1,000 subscribers. And then from there, it's tiered pricing after that. I believe it's custom pricing after that. I'm not 100% sure. I'll just make a note to go in and ask them afterwards what the pricing structure is because I can't actually remember. So the point is they're going to charge us based on these active subscribers, right? Over here, I can see, look, I've asked this guy for his email address, and even after asking for his email address, he has not given me his email address. Well, from my perspective, look, if you're not even going to give me your email address, are you going to buy something from me? Are you going to convert on my offer? Probably not, right? If at this point you still are not willing to give me that email address for whatever value I'm going to give you, you're most likely not going to actually make a transaction. If you're not going to make a transaction, if you're not willing to give me your email address, well, guess what? I'm going to just simply unsubscribe you from my bot. That's it. You're gone. You're not a subscriber anymore because I want to keep this number as low as possible because once this guy reaches 500, I'm on a new pricing plan. It does me no good to have 500 subscribers who won't give me an email address, who won't take advantage of one of my offer. I mean, what good is that? I can send these guys out some content, great, but if they're not going to give me an email address, if they're not going to actually eventually convert on my offer and, you know, add to the dollar signs in my bank account, well, I mean, unless you're just running a charity or something. If you're running a charity where you want to give out some information, then maybe rethink whether you want to unsubscribe people of your bot. If your end goal is monetization, which is most people's end goal, if your end goal is to somehow monetize your subscribers, then do yourself a favor and begin to go in and dwindle down people when you get the chance. If you realize, hey, this person isn't doing what I'm wanting him to do, or he's not conforming to the typical flow, because I mean, we should all be able to understand whatever it is that we're selling, whatever it is that we're offering, we know more or less the flows and the pathways that the people who end up converting actually take. So if this guy is not following that normal thing, just unsubscribe him from your bot. And honestly, I do this all the time. I would say 90% of these unsubscribers here are physically me unsubscribing people because they have done something that I said, hey, that doesn't follow the typical flow that someone who's going to convert will take, so I'll just unsubscribe you. Now, what I do realize is a lot of times when I unsubscribe people, they will instantly type start back. They will instantly resubscribe themselves to my bot because they're like, oh my God, this guy just unsubscribed me. I don't want to be unsubscribed. I want this guy's content, right? Now, even there, you can actually, that has a use because now that person becomes even more valuable to than a normal guy, because somebody, if you manually unsubscribe them and then right after that they're like, oh shit, I don't want to be unsubscribed, let me start this back, that guy will eventually convert. That's why he's subscribed himself. So
do you actually send a message out then to that person saying, hey, you've been unsubscribed?
Yeah. If you see,
is that just another flow that you set up the moment you tag them as something and they get the message and it puts them in that?
Yeah, you see right here, right after I unsubscribe them, I just send them a message and say, all right, you've been unsubscribed from my bot. No problem, man. You don't want to be in here? You don't want to give me your email address? No problem. Then I'll just unsubscribe you. I'm not scared to unsubscribe people whatsoever because I want to keep that number down. So Now we've got our entire flow. First thing that happens is we're going to look to see if this guy's ever commented on a post before. If he has commented on a post before, then I'm just going to go add some useless tag. The only reason that I'm adding this useless tag is because I can't just dead end a flow. I mean, I've got to dead end a flow, so I've got to end it somewhere. So either I need to give him a message or I need to give some arbitrary action. So I'm just going to give this useless tag as an arbitrary action to end out this flow. Now, if he hasn't ever commented on my post, then at that point I'll tag him that he just commented on my post, and then I'll check this condition to see, hey, if he has it, if there's any value in his email address. If there is any value in his email address, then I'll just deliver him whatever content that he was wanting from commenting on that post. If there isn't, then I really don't actually need this condition, but since I just copied and pasted it into the other, and I really don't need this condition because I know that this condition would never be satisfied because these are the same conditional clauses. Only this condition would ever be satisfied. So I could really just route this guy right in here and then get rid of this condition and then get rid of that condition. Now everything else I'd leave the same because I'd verify, and actually if it has any value is no. I actually just did the wrong thing. I want to route him into that flow right there. One, yeah. So I need to route him into there, and then I could actually essentially get rid of that guy right there. And then I could actually, this one I still want because he could break out of here and not actually give me the content that I want. So now that guy's all good. So now this is done. Now this flow is done. So now I could go in and I've published that guy. I've got my growth tool. So the other big thing that I want you guys to realize is a lot of these growth tools, even after you save everything and publish things, they have this they got this little button right here. So right now, if this guy was to go comment on the post, nothing would happen until you activate this. Now, once you've activated this, you could go to this post right here. Let's see. Why Facebook's taking forever.
I'll send you a post comment.
In just a second, see there, that message just popped up. Yes, please. And now we'll go into that other flow where it will automatically just deliver me the content because I already have an email address stored for myself. So my email address is already stored for myself. So you can see that it's already,
that's awesome.
It's already delivered the content to me. So that's how you would do that. Pretty straightforward.
This has been tremendous. I mean, wow. Thanks for doing this with us. I really do appreciate it. I gotta ask where you guys are located.
So our office is located in Eastern India. So we're located in West Bengal. So part of my job, I used to work for, I'm an engineer. I've got 2 degrees in engineering. And the last physical company that I worked for before starting my own company was a company called Smashing Boxes. And they sent me, I worked there as a lead developer, and then they promoted me to a project manager. And then about 6 months into being a project manager, they said, look, John, here's some plane tickets. You're going over to India, and here's what we want you to do. And they basically had me come up with these evaluation matrix and go to a bunch of different companies over here and evaluate viability of being able to send our overflow work over to offshore development firms. So I kind of went over and did that, and spent like a year and a half over here interviewing companies and getting communication channels and everything set up so that they could start sending work over here. And then when I went back to the US, they pretty much laid off like 60% of the guys that worked for me. So I ended up quitting my job, and I started freelancing. And then I started freelancing on this platform right here on Upwork, and I've been really successful at it. And then after starting freelancing on Upwork, which it was actually Elance when I started, after doing that, I started getting so many jobs I couldn't physically manage all of them myself. I couldn't do all of them because everybody kept asking me to do work. So I had so many ties in India, and just the cost of development was so much cheaper over there that I started outsourcing my work over there. And then I did that for like 6 months, and I just started realizing that there was a big quality gap in the quality that I provide and the quality that some of these companies were providing us. So I just came over here and I started my own company because I figured, you know, what I'm paying these guys, what I was paying them, I knew I could get things cheaper if I just, instead of hiring a company, if I just hired the developer myself. So, and plus I would be able to control the quality. I would be able to control the DevOps and the processes that they follow if I just hire them. So about 3 years ago, I started doing all that. And this office here is about 2.5 years old, and we got 30 developers now, but that's where we're at. We're in Southern India, Southeastern India.
Awesome.
So that pretty much shows you how to do that. So what else? It's just 3 of us now. Dolly's here as well, but Dolly's muted, and I'm not sure if she's actually here active or if she's here watching or if she's with her kids, because I think she had some kids I heard in the background or something. But this is pretty much your guys' time. So I do these training sessions for at least an hour, and it's literally, I don't have an agenda when I do them. I don't have any syllabus that I'm going to show you how to do, because it seems more valuable if I just show you guys exactly what it is that you want to actually learn. So
yeah, I would say, I mean, just this half hour here, I got so much to go over the notes that I've taken. I need to go play around with this and then come back with better questions next time. But this has been amazing already. I'm trying to create a bot for a little downtown store that does trinkets and flowers, a flower store. So, you know, this could definitely elevate their interaction with the people here in town tremendously. So one of the things I'll quickly ask about this, and that is, can you in ManyChat set it up where when people enter a perimeter on their phone, that it actually sent them a message automatically based on the GPS location?
Well, first off, no. Okay, first you're going to have to query with Messenger. You can't query automatically somebody's GPS location. You have to physically ask them for their location. So you need to first physically ask them for their location. And then once you physically ask them for their location, then now that you physically ask them for their location, now you could begin to do stuff with that actual location. But to do that, it's going to take a little bit of work, because of what we're going to need. Their location is going to be given back to us as a pair of latitude and longitude. So what we need to do is assimilate that latitude and longitude to, let's say, a zip code or a static location. Because you're never going to get, I mean, me and you could be sitting right next to each other. I mean, literally sitting right next to each other, and both give user input of our location. And we're both going to, the result is going to be 2 separate latitude and longitudes. We're never going to, because there's a degree of accuracy. It's like, depending on your device, it's between 5 to 30 meters worth of accuracy. So even if we're sitting right next to each other and we both physically give our location, we're never going to get physically back the same 2 latitude and longitudes. So what we need is, we need to be able to take those latitude and longitudes, give them off to some API that will simulate those longitudes and latitudes into a physical location, like a zip code or a city, something like that. And then once we get that result back, then we could actually go in and do something custom based on their actual location. What would probably
so there's definitely much more in depth than just a normal guy would do it at first.
Correct. Much more in depth to do anything real location based. What you could do is, what it seems like something that seems like would be useful is, if you look at this bot, this is a demo restaurant bot. And this bot, if you look inside here and you just type in menu, then this guy will go in, and once you type in menu, he'll ask, hey, which one of my menus do you want to see? You want to see my appetizer menu? Now,
Nice.
once you once you hit, hey, I want to see your appetizer menu, then he's going to give you back the appetizer menu and even allow you to basically add it to your cart so that you can order it right online through Messenger. So probably for your trinket shop, you could do something very, very similar, right? You could go in and somebody could go in and have a keyword products or have a keyword catalog, stuff like that. And whenever they hit that, then you could go in and basically show them cards like this of probably not every single item that they sell, but I would say a trinket shop, they most likely have these standard go-to items that they engrave or that are customizable, that they could go in and put those things in there and then allow somebody to either add that directly to their cart or allow them to actually customize that. So now if I'm pretty sure that they added this in here. Let's take a look and see if they added this in here. I'm almost certain that they added this in here where we could just come in here and we could look and see. We got some user input, and what we're going to do is we're going to get some image back from them. So now, for example, they most of these trinket shops, I'm assuming they've got these plaques where you can customize them and put like your girlfriend's picture or something there, or even they sell like these really cool these little cool glass balls where they like engrave, like they 3D engrave inside of them some picture and something. So maybe they sell those. Well, in order to customize that, they're going to need some content, right? What words do you want to include on here? What image do you want to include on here? So now you could collect all that information right from Messenger and then pipe that out to them as an actual new order and collect orders right through Messenger. And that seems like it's really useful for people like that. You can do the standard stuff of, hey, what's your location? Where are you located at? Pipe them back out like a Google map, or pipe them back out a physical address accompanied by a Google map. What are your business hours? Are you open right now? When do you close? When do you open? Pipe them out standard business hours. Hey, what's your phone number? Pipe them out a phone number. Can you call me? There's third-party applications that you can use that will actually initiate phone calls where you can just send it out to them, initiate a live phone call, do like a connection bridge and have them connected. So stuff like that is all probably going to be stuff that's really, really useful. Ask them what type of promotional content that they want. Send them out weekly or monthly promotional broadcasts with new content that they're releasing.
This is amazing information.
Yeah, you could do pretty much. I mean, you can do almost anything that you want. Like, to give an example, if you go to this demo bot and you just say get weather, this guy's going to ask you for a zip code. You give him some zip code and he's going to literally go out and fetch the weather for that location and then pipe you back out the weather and tell you that it's a clear sky, wind speeds this, temperatures that. This guy can go in and scrape emails from a website. You just give him a website. You give him any website and he'll go out, look at that website, grab every email on that website, and then pipe it back to you and say, here's all the emails that I found on that website. So you can do pretty much anything that you want.
It's incredible. Now, where you guys are located in India, is WeChat as popular there as the rest of Asia? Because I know Messenger is trying to catch up, from what I heard, trying to catch up with some of the functionality that WeChat has and the user base that WeChat has.
I don't think so. Hey, do you guys use WeChat? Do you guys use WeChat here? No, not so much. No, for chat, as far as chat, most everybody's going to use Messenger or they're going to use WhatsApp.
Yeah. Very cool. John, I'm going to actually run and get my family ready for our day. This was tremendous. I'm definitely going to try and pop in from time to time. Thanks again. I really do appreciate it. And best of luck with everything there, man.
My pleasure, man. Have a good one.
Thanks.
Yep. So anybody else that's on the line, anything that you guys want to see, anything that you guys want to go over while we're here? Dolly, is there anything that you want to see while we're here? Somebody else is here on the phone. Maybe there's something that you want to go over and see. Nope. Well, it's just me and you right now, Dolly. Is there anything that you want to see, anything that you want to do in this session? Nope. All right. Then I'm just going to call this one over. So thank you guys.